If you are retaining water, the body is doing that in order to protect itself against excess acid. If you're retaining excess weight, the body is doing that to bind acidity, to remove acids away from the organs that sustain life in order to protect organs, particularly the blood. If the body is creating cholesterol, the body is doing that to neutralize acids and to protect the arterial walls from acid damage and to prevent internal bleeding. The body will prematurely clot in cases of acidosis to prevent internal bleeding. The body will leach minerals from the bones and from the muscles that can lead to stones. Breakdown of tissue and of our skeletal system or our muscular system is a result of the body trying to maintain the alkaline design of the fluids of the body. The body will form tumors to encapsulate spoiling cells or acidic cells in order to protect healthy tissue, to stop a domino effect of one cell spoiling another cell. Somewhat like if you took a rotten apple and you put it into a bushel of apples, of healthy apples, it would spoil the entire bushel. The way that the body works is if we have several cells in mass that are spoiled and are breaking down and oozing out acids, the body will encapsulate that through a cross-linking of fibrin monomers, forming a tumor in order to protect the tissue outside of that spoiled mass. The tumor is not the cancer. The tumor is the solution to a cancerous condition. To remove the tumor would be like picking at a scab. To biopsy is like picking at the scab. All you do is you irritate that area, open it up for acids to ooze out, causing a domino effect and causing what is referred to as metastatic cancer. Biopsies cause metastatic cancer. Removing acids through the third kidney. If you have skin problems, you have 3,500 pores per square inch. These pores are orifices to allow acidic waste products to be removed from the tissues. Any skin problems, basal cell carcinoma, melanomas, sarcomas, are all caused from the mere fact that you are not eliminating your own waste products through the normal channels of elimination. Heart disease is nothing more than the body breaking down tissue. The heart weakens, just like if you were to take Heinz 57, which is made with acid, to tenderize a muscle. The heart is a muscle. It becomes tenderized by metabolic and dietary acids. If you don't die of a heart attack, you'll eventually die from cancer. That's why heart disease is the #1 killer in the world today. Once again, for the life of all flesh is the blood. Since the heart is the main muscle that pumps or circulates the life-giving cells, when the heart stops, there's no more blood or life circulation, and death is imminent. There's research to back this up that an alkaline lifestyle and diet using alkaline minerals will protect the bones and the muscles. And I quote, "Excessive consumption of acid-producing foods results in metabolic acidosis. When this occurs, the parathyroid hormone stimulates the removal of calcium from the bones and the teeth, osteolysis, to buffer or neutralize excess acidity. After many years, such calcium loss results in depleted bone, bone weakness, and structure. There is only one cause of osteopenia, arthritis, and osteoporosis, and that's the increase of acidic waste products that are not being eliminated through the 4 channels of elimination. This problem cannot be resolved by taking calcium supplements. You're wasting your money if you're addressing it in this manner. There is no drug that will deal with this problem other than changing your diet to an alkaline lifestyle and diet and opening up the channels of elimination. As we see, the U.S. coronary intervention procedures are increasing. The study called the Farmington Study, which has been going on since the early 70s. This is a 10-year published study that was published in the Lancet showing that as cholesterol increases, we find the death rate due to coronary heart disease increases. When we look at the additional 10 years or a 20-year window, we see that as cholesterol increases, coronary heart disease decreases. The reason for this is blood cholesterol is an indicator of overacidity. When your cholesterol is high, this is an indication that your lifestyle and diet is overacid. It's not that cholesterol is bad. Low-density lipoproteins are actually saving your life. When low-density lipoproteins are high, they are released and created and released to neutralize excess acids from lifestyle and dietary choice. If you want to lower your cholesterol naturally without harming the body, then you do so by making lifestyle and dietary choices. The use of statin drugs, which abnormally lowers cholesterol, has a terrible side effect. It's called heart attack. These are what acid crystals or bloodstones look like. This is created by eating animal protein, particularly chicken. This is an acid stone. This is a liquid that's been crystallized by the body using calcium or magnesium ions or even cholesterol. Here we see the crystallization of lactic acid. These acids build up on the walls of the arteries. Which is worse, the building up of sclerotic plaque or acids destroying the walls of the arteries and bleeding to death instantly? There's your choice. There is another choice, I think it's more sane, and that is making changes in lifestyle and dietary habits that protect the blood and the walls or the endothelial cells that protect the blood vessels. Here we see orotic acid due to a lack of oxygen. Maren Hale was an interesting case study because she was being studied at the University of Utah that I attended. They've been studying this family now since the early 40s, so it's been over 60, 70 years. Her father died from hypercholesterolemia. She's had sisters and brothers pass on from hypercholesterolemia. Actually, it's not high cholesterol, it's hyperacidosis. When she went on to the program, we started watching her cholesterol. Her total cholesterol was 441 in December of 96. The sclerotic plaque, or the acid crystallization found in triglycerides, which is nothing more than crystallized acid, was 226. Over a period of transition, through a process of alkalization, this so-called familial hypercholesterolemia was reversed. Now, there is no known cure for familial hypercholesterolemia. They're still studying this. They're looking for a drug. But the cure is very simple. Stop eating acidic food. Start exercising. Start drinking alkaline water. If you have high cholesterol and you don't want high cholesterol, don't lower your cholesterol with acidic drugs such as statin drugs unless you want the side effects, which one of those is death. You can lower your cholesterol naturally when you address the problem, but you have to understand the problem. Hypercholesterolemia is caused by I eat too much acid disease. That was the polite way to say it. You can see the HDLs did something very interesting too as well. As we increase the oils in this diet, because the pH Miracle diet is low carbohydrate, no protein, and high fat. The reason why it's no protein is because I learned early, many years ago, that our muscles aren't built from protein, our bones are not built from calcium, our bones and our muscles are built from blood. And when you focus on building blood with the very food that God Himself has declared through His prophets, green foods and green drinks, you begin to build your blood, you start putting on weight that is healthy weight, and you start releasing acidic cells or broken cells or cells that have been damaged. So initially you go into a catabolic response on this particular program, you lose weight. You can lose quite dramatically. You can lose several pounds in one day. The average weight loss for a man is about a pound. For a woman is about a half a pound. But we've seen as much as 15 to 20 pounds in one day lost. Why? Because people are full of undigested matter. You probably heard of John Wayne when he died, when they did the autopsy, and they discovered that he was full of over 50 pounds of undigested animal protein. So we see that the HDLs go up, which deliver nutrients to the cell and also build cell membranes. Fat is protective. When you were born, you were 90% water, you were 8% fat, you were 1% protein, and 1% mineral. How much sugar were you? Hardly negligible. What is our diet now? 90% sugar, or 20% or 30% protein. We have this illusion which has been perpetuated on us by the Germans that meat is good for us, that it helps to build our muscles. I don't think there's an animal in the animal kingdom, especially the strongest animals in the world, that build their muscle with protein shakes and other animals' flesh. If you want to build healthy muscles, you want strong muscles, you build it with blood, and in turn, blood transforms into muscle. Now, that's a whole new concept for most of you. What I just shared with you is the primary cell, the erythrocyte, the red blood cell, is the cell that transforms or differentiates into all other body cells. That's why Moses said the life and death is the blood, because the blood is the stem cell. Blood transforms into bone. Blood transforms into muscle. Blood transforms into new liver. It is the most important cell. The quality of that cell is determined by what you eat, what you drink, and what you think. And the only way to build healthy blood is to eat the right kinds of fats and eat the right kinds of greens. Body's always trying to maintain its delicate pH at 7.365. Everything's defaulted. Excess acid, if it's not eliminated through the 4 channels of elimination, as I mentioned, goes into the connective tissue and then the fatty tissue. Even Dr. Atkins, who promoted animal protein, said this, and I quote, "The cells and fluids in most people's bodies are overly acidic." I was surprised when I found this quote, because acid was the very cause of his death. This can cause a lot of health problems. It prevents your body from neutralizing and disposing of harmful, poisonous toxins and leaves you more susceptible to the cell-damaging free radical oxidation that leads to cancer and other diseases, close quote. Once again, there is only one cause of all sickness. There's only one health. There's only one disease. There are not many healths. Let's see, we got this kind of health and that kind of health. Yet we've classified diseases, and we understand that there's only one health and one disease, which is the overacidification of the blood and tissues. So now it's your turn. What kind of water do you drink? Bottled water, tap water, filter ionized water, home system, filtered water from a third party, reverse osmosis, or Brita water? Probably the most important thing you should be drinking is, of course, pure, clean, ionized, alkaline water, which is what we are. We're a body of water. We compared it to, let's say, a bag of water with a little dirt in it. The kind of water is alkaline. I have found that the ideal water for consumption has a pH of 9.4 with an oxidative reduction potential of negative 250 millivolts, which is probably more information you want to hear. Also, that water has to be in a microclustification of no less or no more than 5 molecule H2O molecules per cluster. What that means is this water is wet. When you drink it on a monomolecular water, you can pour it in your hand and it comes out the other end. That's how permeable this water is. Alkaline water that's clustered, which comes out of our taps and some of our wells, are clustered in 20, 30, 40 molecule clusters. You drink it and you go, I can't drink this water, it's too heavy. And you're absolutely right. It's heavy because there's acids that cause these clusters to just cause the H2O molecules to stick apart. The water ionizers break those molecules apart, creating a monomolecular type water. When you drink it, you can drink more. And if you really want to be healthy, you have to pee your way to health. You got to pee like a racehorse. I could tell you stories when we were kids. I think all guys played those games, how far they could, pee. You could stand on one side of the street and pee across to the other side. For some reason, as we get older, we have to kind of just shake it out or something, It just doesn't come out. And the reason for that is because we have become acidic and toxins have built up. And yet, when you start alkalizing and energizing, you can drink 2 to 3 liters, up to 4 to 5. And pH Miracles, for anybody that's really interested in perfect health, miracles begin at 6 liters or above. And that's not just any water. This is a pH of 9.5 at negative 250 millivolts. That's preferably no more than 5 molecules per cluster. And we can measure this. So what is the pH of a healthy drinking water? The answer is greater than 9. For those that are dealing with degenerative acidic conditions, we take the water up to 11. Now the pH is exponential, so every point we move like from 7 to 8, that's 10 times. 8 to 9 is 100 times. 9 to 10 is 1,000 times. 10, so it's exponential. Just as when we're drinking soda pop, like Coca-Cola, is 500, we can go, let's do the math. Our bodies are at 7.365 ideally. We go from 7 to 6, 10, 6 to 5, 100, 5 to 4, 1,000, 4 to 3, 10,000, 3 to 2, 100,000 or a million? Okay, so 10, 100, 1,000, it's 100,000. 100,000 times more toxic, carrying hydrogen ions the body has to deal with. It's overwhelming, especially for a young child. We have to shift that by moving more to an alkaline water. The water should be clean, it should be pure. I recommend nanopurification systems. Why? Because it takes out the ionizing radiation that we've now polluted all of our bodies of water across the world from Fukushima. Fukushima has now polluted every known source of water on this planet. It contains radiation that has to be filtrated out with a nanofiltration system. On top of that, you're also taking probably Prozac or some other drug that's now in the water table and can only be taken out through nanofiltrations. So you're getting radiation, you're getting prescription drugs, and on top of that, all the other stuff that's in there. Lead, mercury, or whatever other heavy metals that might be there. But you want a clean and pure water. You want an alkaline water with a pH of 9.5. A negative charge. Negative charge, why? Well, why would you buy an acid battery? When you go to the store, what kind of batteries do you buy? You buy an alkaline battery. That's what we run on. I wish we had come with a cord. We could just plug ourselves in like our cell phones, because our bodies run on electrical energy. The reason why we soak our bodies in sun is because we're ionizers. Our sun's like a solar panel. It takes up those ions and converts that into electrical energy. It's called solar energy. We are solar panels. We run on light. How many believe we run on calories? We talk about calories, but we run on electrical energy. We are electrical beings. If you don't believe me, put your finger in a light socket. You'll find out very quickly how electrical you are. So when you eat food, you don't eat food for its caloric intake. You don't eat it for its carbohydrate, its protein, or fat. You eat it for the only thing that your body runs on, electrical energy. It is the electron that powers us. It's the same stuff that powers the cell phone. So it's powering this computer. It's allowing me to speak. And if I drink distilled water or acid water, that's pulling electrons from my body. It's not contributing to my body. I have to structure the water and put an electron charge on it, which is called the negative charge, because the negative charge is the spark of life. You see, when you get the truth about how your bodies actually function, It makes you think that when you're eating chocolate, you're getting nothing more than hydrogen ions that pull electrons from your body. You take it as a stimulant. You feel good momentarily, just as you've taken a cup of coffee or a cup of green tea or a high-sugar fruit when you saturated your body with protons instead of electrons. And when you understand the bioenergetic dynamics of the body and the biochemistry of the body, this makes perfect sense. It just seemed a lot simpler if we just had a charger that we could just plug ourselves into. But the sun is part of that. Water is part of that energy system. And food becomes a more inferior way to derive electrical potential to recharge our bodies. We become addicted to foods and become slaves to food. What we really need out of food is just its electrical potential, its life force. That's why a raw food diet is so more effective. It's not because it's full of enzymes. Those are the poisons and the waste products of deterioration. It's because of its electrical potential. It's alive with electrons. And when you cook the food, you destroy that electrical energy. It's lost. It's kind of like for a woman trying to catch a bachelor. They're here and there everywhere. They move 3 feet in a second. You just can't catch them. They move very, very, very quickly. And you lose that when you boil food, when you cook food, you're losing the electrical potential. Who cares about the enzymes? They're of no value to the body other than to poison the body. They provide no benefit. None. Other than, okay, I'll give it this credit. It'll break down some of the sclerotic plaque and the constipation. I would rather use aloe vera to do that, which has a pH of about 3.2 to 3.5, because of allotonin, which is a lot kinder to the intestinal villi. But it's still an acid. But at least it doesn't burn while you're taking it. Vitamin C is an acid. Do I recommend it? Absolutely not, unless you're constipated. The reason Linus Pauling found that it was effective because most people are constipated with undigested animal proteins, and when you take vitamin C, it breaks that down. Well, sure, when you have healthier bowels that are clearer, but it also destroys everything else that's good. So do I recommend vitamin C? I recommend it for what it is. It's an acid. It breaks things down. It'll take the good, it'll take the bad. Now, if you thought I turned your world upside down, I'm not done with you. So I'm redefining nutrition, I'm redefining hematology, redefining chemistry, physics, and I've had to create a whole new science to try to make sense of all this. Why does Hansa water work, Lourdes water, Trinity water, Destiny? Why do these waters work? Because they have electrons delivering it. You drink water. Water is a catalyst to derive electrical energy and potential to the body. They work because they carry that electrical charge. They are higher in alkalinity. They carry that strong negative charge. These are some of the characteristics. This is probably more science than I want to share with you today, but here's the pH scale. Goes from 0 to 14. There you go. 7 to 8, 10 times, 9, 100 times, 10, 1,000 times, 5,000, 10.5. Well, you know, beer is running, well, look at some of these charts, is running about 5.5, coffee running between 4 to 4.5, sodas between 3 to 3.5. But here what we're measuring in the pH scale is the potential of hydrogen concentration. Another word for hydrogen is acid, or proton when we're looking at the bioelectrics. Our bodies need to run on electrical energy and on alkalinity. That's why we buy the alkaline batteries. Here's the food, Sunny Delight, 2.81. That's why I don't recommend orange juice, and fresh orange juice isn't that much better. It's full of acids, particularly sugar, which provides no benefit. Guess what, folks? Your brain, your body, your heart, your cells do not run on sugar. They run on electrons. The more sugar you eat, and I've done this experiment before, it turns the light off. We have type 1 diabetics that have been taking insulin for years. We were surprised when they were getting off their insulin that their blood sugars actually dropped to 0. Now at 40 milligrams per deciliter, anybody that has blood sugar at 40 on the traditional American diet would go into a coma. But when they're on a high electron alkaline rich program, you can have 0 blood sugars with no negative effect. So when we see these blood sugars dropping down, we applaud that, we recognize what it is, we're encouraging alkalinity, we're neutralizing these acids, including glucose, but the number one thing that's happening in the hospitals that's leading to hospital infections are IVs of dextrose. IVs of antibiotics. How are antibiotics made? They're made by fermenting and rotting matter. They are the waste products, they're the urine. And when you put these antibiotics in, they don't kill anything. All they can do is change, because one of the principles in physics is matter cannot be created nor can it be destroyed. It can only change its form or function. You cannot kill bacteria. Bacteria can only change. And when you take an acid, such as an antibiotic, all you do is set up an environment that forces bacteria to change to yeast or change to mold. You end up with secondary infections. This whole theory about flesh-eating bacteria is nonsense. Bacteria doesn't eat flesh. Bacteria is a product of deterioration of the flesh due to acids. Acid is the only cause and the creation of transformation of bacteria, and I'll show you some documentation of this. It's very, very interesting, as it changed my life in 1994. I have this video here in a moment I'll share with you. We talked about the importance of alkalinity, that it takes 20 parts of alkalosis of sodium bicarbonate to neutralize 1 part carbonic acid. And this was taken out of the principles and practice of adult health nursing. Why I suggest it's impossible to over-alkalize. In order to maintain a normal pH, blood pH, of that delicate pH 7.35 to 7.4, you have to over-alkalize your body to deal with the acids that are being produced from diet metabolism. So one of the major buffers of the body is the bicarbonate system. The bicarbonate system takes salt, water, carbon dioxide to make sodium bicarbonate to neutralize the acids in our food and to neutralize the acids produced from metabolism. The organ that's responsible for producing sodium bicarbonate is the stomach. The main purpose of the stomach is not to digest food. The main purpose of the stomach is to alkalize the food. These darker areas are the gastric pits, where the hydrochloric acid falls in and the sodium bicarbonate rises to meet the food. That's why when the food leaves, it leaves in an alkaline state and leaving all the hydrochloric acid behind. Now, where do we come up with this crazy idea that hydrochloric acid was necessary for the digestion of the food? Once again, it came from the Germans. It's called the Heidelberg test. And it's like 80 years old. It's an old test. Welcome to the 21st century. Hydrochloric acid is an acidic waste product as the body is producing alkalinity to raise the pH and prepare that food at an 8.4 pH to transform it into new blood. So we have major buffers of acidity. We have the bicarbonate, the major cause of anemic. All the anemic conditions is not a deficiency of iron, it's a deficiency in sodium bicarbonate, a deficiency in salt, and a deficiency in the body's need for alkaline buffers to neutralize the acid loads that are the body's being subjected to from lifestyle and dietary choice. So the body uses its own hemoglobin, the major molecule. It pulls it out to neutralize acid, and we become anemic. And the doctor says, well, you need more iron. You don't need more iron. You need more alkalinity. You need to strengthen the blood. You need to protect the alkaline design of the fluids of the body. Phosphates, plasma proteins, electrolytes, low-density lipoproteins or cholesterols, hormones, H2O, water. These are all engaged within the system of the body to manage the acid loads, because as I began this discussion, the human body is alkaline in its design, but all functions are acidifying. How does the body manage that? So here are the 15 steps to perfect health. As I suggested earlier, that one drop of blood can reveal your current health condition and the future of your current health condition. It's called live and dry blood cell analysis. We are offering that, and you can get more information back here at our booth. Within 5 minutes, you'll know everything about your current present health, but just by looking at one drop of blood. We can also do thermographies and ultrasounds and other quantitative testings of chemistries and comprehensive blood counts. When we get into the overall program, it's based on these 4 principles of opening up the channels of elimination, healing the core, building the blood, and then hyperperfusing the blood and tissues with alkalinity. The kidneys love alkalinity. The reason why we're having so many kidney stones and kidney failures and kidney transplants is because of acidic lifestyles and diets. So we have to look at what are our favorite acid foods and what are the alkalizing foods and drinks. Think about what you're eating and what you're drinking. Exercise is important. In fact, if you're exercising and not sweating, you are not exercising. If your pores are open and clear, you should be sweating within 5 or 10 minutes once you begin the exercise. Breathing helps to bring alkalinity into the blood and tissues. Alkalizing nutritional supplements. Wow, that's a new thought. Why would we create alkalizing nutritional supplements? Because that's the nature of the body. How does emotional and spiritual aspects of our life affect the overall constitution and alkalinity? Setting goals and writing them down. Lymphatic massage to help remove acids out of the connective tissue, out of the fatty tissues. Infrared saunas to open up the pores of the skin to remove metabolic and dietary acids. Alkalizing salt baths to do the same. Alkalizing colon therapy, not to pull things out, but to actually put things in. We started this many years ago, many years ago, and the first to actually come up with this whole idea that you can actually absorb more rectally than you can orally. There's nothing to block it. And so when you're infusing chlorophyll, salts, and fats into the bowels, the main purpose of the bowel is to absorb that alkaline water, to restore its alkaline salts, and it happens instantaneously. It's the best way to take your supplements is rectally. Unfortunately, kids have taken this a little too far, and now they're taking their drugs this way because they can get higher quicker, you can get drunker faster if you take alcohol or drugs rectally than if you snort them or take them by IV. You have what is called the mesenteric blood vessels that are attached into the small and large intestine, and they uptake all of this nutrition with nothing blocking it. That's why we have such great results, and we have them fast. Talked a little bit about nebulization and alkalizing nutritional IVs. You see, the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will involve the patient in the proper use of alkalizing food, alkalizing air, and exercise to remove the acidic toxins out of the body. As I mentioned, these are the 4 objectives of the pH Miracle program. Open up the 4 channels of elimination. Once again, what are they? Respiration, defecation, urination, and perspiration. If you're exercising and not sweating, you're not exercising. You have to sweat till you're wet. Now you're exercising. Restore health to the intestinal villi. Why? Because just like a plant, our flowers, which are our organs, do not blossom if the roots are damaged. The intestinal villi is the root system of all of our tissues and organs. It is there that we build healthy blood and then body cells. It is the blood that becomes the body cell. And then to hyperperfuse the tissues with alkalizing compounds. Those are our 4 objectives which are outlined in the pH Miracle Revised and Updated book. So life and death begins in the core. Here are the appendages of our root system. We have 27 feet. Surface area, 7,200 square feet. This large surface area that when food comes in, it comes in a liquid state. Now, if you're eating chicken or beef or pork or dairy products or acidic foods, this just gums up, it clogs up, and this creates, at the beginning, indigestion, aches and pains, lower bowel problems, constipation, diarrhea, irritable bowel, and eventually cancer. Here we have a case of celiac sprue where the intestinal villi have been totally destroyed. That's why food, if it's not liquefied, for some that has celiac sprue, they have, well, it's true for anyone, they have no way to stop it. It just goes in one way and it comes out the same way. In fact, the very thing that we do for all of our client patients is we take them off solid food because solid food is of no value to you. We put you on a baby food diet of liquids, juices, soups, shakes, raw foods, green foods that begin to restore this part of the body. If you want the autistic child to reconnect to their secondary brain, you have to restore health to the core because that is the primary brain that has been destroyed by antibiotics, and other drugs, vaccinations, and acidic foods. Now, this can be coming from the mother during breastfeeding, or it can come shortly after breastfeeding, depending on what the mother is doing and how the child is feeding, how the mother is feeding the child. But this is the root system that will determine the health of the blood, and then the blood, the health of the body. These tests are pure preventative. This is what healthy blood looks like. This is what cancerous or sick blood looks like. Here you can see the black crystal stones for someone who smokes tobacco. Here are sugar crystals from a diet that's high in carbohydrate. Here is the formation of a fiber net with a yeast focal point, which is the beginning of tumor formation. We only see these types of formations in those who are either diagnosed or will eventually be diagnosed with a serious degenerative condition. Wouldn't it be nice to know that and then have your results in less than 5 minutes? This whole idea that bacteria and yeast come from the outside world and affect our body is as silly as thinking about food in our refrigerator being attacked by bacteria and yeast and spoiling that food. Nobody believes that bacteria and yeast spoils the food in our refrigerator. Why would we ever buy into the theory that bacteria and yeast causes deterioration and disease? Yeast and bacteria do not cause disease. They are literally born out of the cells when the cells are breaking down to an acidic environment. Bacteria is a transformation of human matter or plant matter or animal matter. So this changed my life, 1994. What you're going to see is an anthraxis bacillus swimming through the blood plasma. It's going into an area of other red blood cells that are not healthy. Then you're going to witness the transformation of a bacteria transform into a red blood cell. Now what you're seeing is a raw bacteria swimming in the plasma. It actually came from another field of view that I witnessed. It swam into this area, it stopped, and it went through this biological transformation. Now current medical science and bacteriologists or morphologists, they do not believe in biological transformation. But I recorded this in 1994. I traveled with this information to the University of Vienna, where I showed it to the top cancer oncologist there at that university. And he said, in all the years I've been teaching oncology and hematology, I have never seen bacteria morph. But the reality is, the only thing in life that is constant, remember this, is change. We're seeing a morph of bacteria which can change its form and its function.
Blood of a type 1 diabetic using phase contrast microscopy. Looking at the live blood, and particularly to the center, you will see a rod bacterial form, much like an anthraxis bacillus, going through a pleomorphic change or a biological transformation, going from a rod bacteria into a coccus bacteria, or a cell much similar to those cells adjacent to it, which are red blood cells or codocytes or targeted red blood cells. This was the first time I had ever witnessed biological transformation, or pleomorphism.
That's why we don't administer bacteria to the body. Antibiotics, which are acids from bacteria, or probiotics, which are the bacteria themselves. All bacteria are biological transformation of either human, animal, or plant matter, and does not belong in a body that's trying to achieve perfect health. So this is what the blood should look like. Cells should be round and symmetrical, even in color, even in shape, even in size. The plasma should be clear. This is sick blood. Healthy, unhealthy. There's only two blood types, just so we can get the blood type diet and the blood typing out. There's only two blood types, healthy and unhealthy. There's only two diets, alkaline diet and acidic diet. You want acidic blood? This is what it looks like, unhealthy. You want alkaline blood? Then you're going to produce healthy blood and you're going to have a healthy lifestyle. When we look at alkaline diet in cancer, we find that the use of sodium bicarbonate in a study that was published on March 15, 2009, using sodium bicarbonate to neutralize the acids, which is the only cause of cancer. Cancer is not a cellular problem, it's an environmental problem that's brought on through acid spoiling cells. So cancer is a liquid acid. So cancer is not a cell, but a poisonous acidic liquid. Here's Michael Maine, diagnosed with cancer. We see yeast in the blood, we see shadow cells, we see polymerized proteins. That is a manifestation of cancer. He was diagnosed, 90 days the cancer's gone, and we have a new man. But we didn't start with the we didn't start with the organs, we started with the most important system and the most important organ, and that was to change the blood, and as we changed the blood, we changed the man. Before, look at the blood, after. Healthy, unhealthy. Type 1, right? Type diets. Bell's palsy, facial paralysis. Look at the blood. All this heterogeneous symplas, which is just what I call cities of garbage. Irregular shaped red blood cells. Yeast, paralysis. What causes paralysis? One word. It's a four-letter word. Acid. What is the cause of all sickness and disease? It's a four-letter word. Acid. 30 days later, look at the cells. White blood cell, healthy. Red blood cells. 15 years of skin problems. Tried every kind of dermatology prescription. Look at the blood. These are all white blood cells. They're called neutrophils. If she had gone to the doctor, they would have diagnosed her with neutrophilic leukemia. The white blood count's high. No one's ever died from a high blood count. They died from the treatments trying to lower it. I just thought I'd throw that in there, just as a bonus. All the drugs that poison the white blood cells are the same poisons that are causing this symptomology. So look at the redness of the skin. 30 days later, look at the blood. Where are the white blood cells? White blood cells are garbage collectors. They're not an army of soldiers going out to war trying to destroy some invading microorganism. There's no infection. Infection is just another scientific illusion. It's outfection. Disease is born in us and from us. From our thoughts, our words, and our deeds, it's expressed outward, from the core outward. If you want your skin to be bright and healthy, that's a product of the blood, because skin is a product of blood. And blood, in a healthy state, is built in the core of the body or the small intestine. That has to be healthy, and you have to eat the right kinds of foods to build that kind of skin. So if you don't like your skin that you're living in, you can change it. And you can change it in 30 days. Now, blood also dries in a specific way. So this is a non-invasive test. It's the only test in the world that is non-invasive, using no radiation, that will give you the kind of information that I would like to see everyone be able to have or take going into a grocery store or any store, have their finger pricked, that information going to a center and an information point coming back where you actually see the picture with an instantaneous diagnosis of where you are, describing what you should be doing, and it should be very inexpensive and available for everyone. But one drop of blood will tell me everything about what you're eating or what you're drinking and what organs are. For example, this right here is a pattern of colon cancer. This right here is systemic acidosis in a diagnosed case of AIDS, not because there's an HIV virus, but because there's an inverted way of living, eating, and thinking. This is prostate cancer. This is the kind of information that I believe should be available and affordable to everyone. Healthy blood, unhealthy blood. No cancer, colon cancer. The pattern comes up every single time. It's irrefutable. It can be documented by any doctor in the world. You take 1,000 people that have been diagnosed with prostate cancer or uterine cancer, the patterns will always show up in the blood because the blood does not lie. It will tell you exactly where your state of health is. So here are two brothers diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. The world is telling us that there is no cure for diabetes, and yet this was their blood. You see, diabetes doesn't start with the pancreas. The pancreas, as I call, is the squirt gun. Its main secretion is sodium bicarbonate. Diabetes begins in the small bowel. Every diabetic is constipated. Period. I ask him, when's the last time you eliminated? Well, that was yesterday. How many times do you eliminate? Well, maybe once, maybe twice. Not enough. You're constipated. Bowel elimination should be a minimum of 3, if not 5. Ideally, with these kids, they were going a lot more, trying just to clear out all the acidic congestion. This was the blood after treatment. Before, after. Diabetes, no diabetes. And guess what? The blood sugars on these kids were 0. They should be dead, right? According to the medical community. And they didn't have any measurable insulin. Now they got insulin being produced and secreted into the blood. And yes, there is a cure for diabetes. If anybody's interested, of course. This is the pH Miracle Center. Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Young. I'm here with 11-year-old Jasmine and her mother, Suzanne. Jasmine was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. She was immediately put on insulin. Her A1C was 16. Her mother was very, very concerned, so she started searching for a solution. She found my work, the pH Miracle for Diabetes, began the program, and within a short period of time, her A1C dropped from 16 to 4, and now she is completely off insulin.
Well, one day, we saw that she was very, very tired and out of it, and we decided to take her into the doctor, and he told us right there after a couple blood tests that she had diabetes. Well, the first day she went into the hospital, they gave her first shot of insulin, and they decided to send me to an endocrinologist the next day, and they told me after that she would have to be on insulin for the rest of her life. Well, I did come across the website for the pH Miracle, and I did a lot of research into that, and I read the book. It was the pH Miracle for Diabetes. And from that point on, from all over. Well, obviously, she's proof, and conventional medicine pointed us towards a direction where I just could not accept their answer to, which is she would have to be on shots for the rest of her life. And this doesn't seem like any type of remedy for me or for her or our family or anyone for that matter. So to me, conventional medicine is a way to manage something and not heal it completely. It's managing and not curing or not reversing.
When you took the insulin, You didn't like it?
Not at all.
Why?
Because it felt painful to me, plus my sugars kept going down, and I had to eat something sweet all the time. I just didn't feel good. I like the diet. I like the soups that my mom makes, and also the chefs make in the PH Miracle. And I also like the trays they make with the cherry tomatoes, the celery. I love that a lot. And
The milks, the almond milks.
yes, I definitely love the green juice with the almond milk, which we call green milk. How I feel is really good. I feel really, let's just say, better than ever. If I never had this mother, she would never researched about the PH Miracle. She would never brought me down here. We would never do this. She would just put me on the shots. But I'm glad that I have a good mother.
She must love you a lot.
Yeah. Love it.
That's the reward when you see a child get off insulin, to see that child healthy and vibrant. And this knowledge should be available for everyone. Steve Birdsall, diagnosed with metastatic cancer. Here's the blood. The origin of the core was toxic. The bones were being wasted to build blood. This was the scan using PET scan technology. Cancers in the lung, clavicle, down the spinal column, in the pelvis, the heart. This is 90 days after an alkaline lifestyle and diet. Prior to doing this, Steve did chemotherapy with no results. So he decided to try the PH Miracle. We've had unbelievable results in dealing with metastatic bone cancer. Why? Because we realize that cancer is an acid, number one, and the focal point of all cancers begin in the small and the large bowel. This is squamous cell carcinoma. This is 5 days after an alkaline diet and administering alkalizing compounds to the surface. He was also test positive for MRSA, which has no known antibiotic to treat. They believe, wrongfully, that it's contagious. This problem was resolved in less than 5 days. This is a squamous cell carcinoma. It actually encapsulated the jugular and the carotid artery. It's, as you can see, very vascular. There was only one hope of a treatment, and that was an alkalizing lifestyle and diet, and the 4 basic objectives. No one has ever reversed a squamous cell carcinoma like this. This is lung cancer. It's black lung. This is what it looks like in the blood, black crystals. This is why we don't recommend algae, why we don't recommend the ingestion of mushrooms, because they literally grow and are formed out of deteriorating tissue. Here in lung cancer, using electron micrographs, you see algae and you see mushrooms growing right out of the tissues. This is how the body encapsulates cells, and encapsulates them using a protein called fibrin, cross-linking it to form a tumor. Here you see red blood cells and white blood cells, and a net which we always see in a precancerous or cancerous condition. In addition to the live and dry blood, we also use thermography. This is a deteriorating breast. This is what breast cancer looks like. Here we see the healthy cells. Here we see the deterioration cells. In using thermography, we also see an increase of hormones, as in this picture here. And here are some more statistics on acids and the poisoning of cells. Mammograms are not only harmful, they're useless. If you want to know whether you are at risk, a live and dry blood cell analysis or A thermography or ultrasound will be able to prevent a cancerous breast condition or a cancerous uterus or prostate, rather than waiting till it's too late by taking a mammogram or some sort of PET or CAT scan. You see here it is detectable after cancer or cancer cells have accumulated to over 268 million. This was an inflammatory ductal cell carcinoma. Here we see the tumor, which is in excess of 10 centimeters. It is also, there's blood supply to it. It does not have well-formed or definitions. This is after 1 week of treatment, 2 weeks of treatment, 3 weeks of treatment, 4 weeks of treatment, 5, 6, and the tumor's gone. There is no known cure for inflammatory ductal cell carcinoma. Well, that's what they would like us to think. If you go to your doctor, your oncologist, and they find this type of cancer, their only recommendation is surgery, partial or radical mastectomy, which also incorporates lymph nodes. In addition to that, they will put you on radiation and chemotherapy, which will destroy other organs of the body. Here is a breast cancer called a sarcoma. And then our latest reversal, which was from the Czech Republic, little Ella. We can see in the test the inflammation in the core up into the head. She was seizuring every 10 minutes. She was having an epileptic seizure. After 8 days of birth, it was very simple. I identified it through thermography, ultrasound, and live and dry blood cell. This case is very simple. What we have is a 6-month-old child who is constipated. Clear the bowel, you'll reverse the epilepsy. Within 3 days, the seizures stopped. She was on 8 medications. Why does this happen? It's what Virchow said. Doctors prescribe drugs of which they know little, for the human body of which they know less, for diseases for which they know nothing at all. Here you see varicose veins and inflammation, which can be identified by thermography. And the beauty of this, no radiation. Here we can see diabetic neuropathy. Look how cold these feet are. There's no circulation to the feet. We can show and document the reversals of these conditions and document them on a weekly basis. There's no argument to whether or not this program works. Folks, it flat out works. This is the use of a cell phone. 15 minutes holding it to your head, you have an immediate disturbance of electromagnetic radiation that's literally frying your brain. The increase in brain cancer, one of the major contributing factors, is a cell phone, which would be equivalent to smoking 300 cigarettes a day. Now, there are companies that are becoming responsible. That would be the Verizon company, who has taken their means and developed systems to do what is called a step-down system to reduce the amount of radiation that comes from the tower to your cell phone to your ear. Because they know, as well as AT&T knows, and all of the other cellular companies know, that this is a huge problem. I just wanted you to see the thermography on this. Using ultrasounds, we can pick up, before you have the stroke, we can pick up acid crystallizations in the carotid arteries and prevent stroke. Wouldn't that be nice? Would you like to know whether you had carotid arteries or veins? That you can see. We can look at the aorta. We can look at the portal vein. We can look at the femur veins and arteries. We can see whether there's a problem progressing using non-radiation techniques. We can see the size of tumors. We can measure them. We know, without doing biopsy, whether the program's working or not. If you have a tumor and it's shrinking, that's a good thing. And we can document this as before. You can see it after. so we can see whether the programs are working. Here we have a mass in the breast. So we can see the breast mass above the breast implants. Here we have the implant. Here we have the breast mass. Breast cysts. And then on top of that, we can run quantitative information to validate all the pictures we're taking, both in the live dry blood thermography and ultrasound, so we can do CA-125s. We can do the cancer antigen tests. We can look at the blood and see if you're producing blood, because most people aren't if they have a health challenge. So we can run an RBC count. We can run a hemoglobin. We can run a hematocrit. We can see what the volumes of blood are. Well, the best way to monitor this, if you don't have the resources now to have these types of tests for prevention, is to begin testing and monitoring your health with these little $10 pH strips. Superhydration. You saw me drinking the green drink, right? And I said, you don't smoke it, you drink it, right? Remember that? We have drops and ionizers that are very, very helpful to raise the pH of the water so you can begin this hyperalkalization. Got it. Even President Clinton is doing the program. Why? After a few heart attacks and open heart surgery, you start finding the green drink. You know what they say? I wished I had found it sooner. I'm really regretful that I had to have a heart attack before I found this truth. Using Kirlian photography, we can see the energy of the food. And you build your stem cells with grass. Look at this. This is a microscopy cross-section of a piece of blade of grass. Look how happy grass is. You see, the reason why grass is happy is because it knows it's going to a better place. So you got happy faces. Even little people can begin drinking green. And we look at the molecular structure of green, it's identical to hemoglobin. Chlorophyll, which is the major molecule of plants, is the major molecule of our blood. How do we build blood? We build it by infusing rectally, orally, high concentrations of chlorophyll. Sometimes a pint, sometimes 2 pints, sometimes 4 pints. And you got to be careful with the chlorophyll, because most of it, because we live in a taste good society, they're going to put sugar in it. They disguise it with the word glycerin. If it has glycerin in it, you don't buy it, because glycerin is a poison. Look what happens in 12 weeks. Guys, you can go from dud to stud. There is hope for us. 12 weeks from dud to stud. This guy entered the Body for Life. He won it, but was disqualified because he didn't use Bill Phillips' program. He used the pH Miracle program. So he had to forfeit the cash, became the runner-up. He lost 31 pounds of fat, gained 11 pounds of muscle, and listen to me carefully. You do not build muscle with protein. You build it with blood, and you build blood with green foods and green drinks, as declared in chapter 1, verse 30 in Genesis. Did I get that correct? He's my backup on this. So life of all flesh is the blood. I wish we had, and there's scientific evidence showing exactly what I'm talking about. You got to search for this stuff. This is what coffee does to your intestines. It rots it, it destroys it. There's no such thing as healthy coffee. If it's not green, it's not good for you. If it's brown or black, that's not the kind of food you should be ingesting. So we got healthy intestinal villi, unhealthy. This is the kind of food you got to eat. Now, Shelley's going to be here at 8:30 tomorrow, and I hope that you're motivated enough that you're going to come back here at 8:30, because she's going to help answer all your questions. But what do I eat now? What do I drink? You know, because we haven't had a lot of time. These are my favorite foods. Avocado, asparagus, broccoli, green beans, kale. Just about done. These are, avocados. You can't eat enough of these. There she is. You'll see her tomorrow. Shelley Redford Young. What did she say? I no longer feel like I'm stuck in the kitchen. I feel like I'm painting edible masterpiece with God's healing plate. You see this right up here? That is an avocado shake made from avocado, spinach, cucumber, salt, and fat. You can sweeten it up a little bit. If you're transitional, you put a grapefruit in there. Or maybe lime. We got lime in there too as well. Here she's making almond milk. She's got an easier way. She's going to show you how to make almond milk. You can see the transformations that take place in people's lives. Lymphatic massage, thermography, before lymphatic massage, after lymphatic massage. There's no question that massage works. We can actually see the outfections and congestions in the brain, through the neck. Through colon hydrotherapy, we can infuse. It's not about taking things out, because we get this gastroenterologist say, hey, what's this thing about colon therapy? I said, look, it's not about what you take out, it's what you put in. And we put in anywhere from 4 to 8 liters of green food rectally. Salt baths, saunas, to open up the pores of the skin. Nebulization, alkalizing IVs. There's our ranch there. There it is there. We got our books back here. I hope you'll investigate what I'm talking about. We've got a free pamphlet we'd like to give everyone. It's got our phone number, our email address. I'm on Facebook too. Can you believe it? I got time to do Facebook. Dr. Robert O Young Fan Club, or the pH Miracle Fan Club. In closing, the key to a pH miracle is understanding that the human body is alkaline by design and acidic by function. If we will manage the fluids of the body and maintain the alkaline design of our body, we will have no sickness, no disease, because that is the effects of an acidic lifestyle and diet. I want to thank you for being here, for taking your time. This is an incredible group. I want to thank Danny and your whole crew. It was great. Thank you very much. God bless every one of you.
Hello, this is Danny Vieira, Director of Modern Manna and Bella Vita Lifestyle Center. I am happy to announce the launch of Risen, our new school of natural healing and health evangelism. Risen, an acronym for Remedial and Integrated School of Evangelism and Naturopathy, offers training to become a certified natural hygiene coach. Learn how you can operate your own lifestyle education home or successfully guide yourself and others to proactive and independent, long-lasting health. For more information, go to www.modernmanna.org.